Hello students, in my last class we have started the second part of life process called respiration. In this part we have seen the definition of respiration, ATP, we have seen cellular respiration and completed also, in which we have seen how the food is oxidized with the help of oxygen in our body and how much we are getting energy. Anaerobic respiration, we have seen how the formation of ethanol and lactic acid takes place with the help of uses of fermentation. We have seen different aspects of accumulation of lactic acid in the muscle cells. Today we'll go further about respiration in animals, means how animals respires or how the process of respiration takes place inside the animals. So let's start with the very smallest animal called amoeba. We know that amoeba is unicellular and most simplest animal. So how it takes oxygen? So in amoeba, they take oxygen and release carbon dioxide through cell membrane. This is the structure they have for excretion also, for intaking of food, nutrition also they use this. Okay, so animal which uses cell membrane for respiration is called membranous respiration. Okay, earthworm, it is multicellular, it uses the moist skin continuously. A mucus gland which is present under the skin secretes mucus is a sticky which helps to absorb oxygen from the atmosphere. Okay, so this type of respiration is called cutaneous respiration. Okay, after that, how cockroach takes oxygen. Cockroach have very different structure called trachea. In that trachea they have small hole like structure called spiracles. With the help of these spiracles, they form a system called tracheal system. Through this, they can take oxygen. Okay, so if you cut the head of a cockroach or any insect, they can survive, they can respire because they takes oxygen throughout the body, because this trachea or spiracle is present in whole body. Okay, so this is the benefit, this is the advantage for any insects. After that we have fish. We know that fish is a complex animal which is found under the class species. They take they lives inside the water, so they need a special organ to take oxygen from water. That's why they have gills. Okay, so gill helps to take oxygen from the water and reaches to each and every cell of the body of fishes. So this type of respiration is called branchial respiration, through which gills are used. They have different filaments present inside the body through which they take oxygen. Okay, in human they take oxygen through lungs. They take oxygen through lungs. That's why this type of respiration is called pulmonary respiration. Okay, so in this way we have seen different organisms, different animals uses different structures to take oxygen. Okay, for respiration. Okay, so just remind this, Amoeba uses cell membrane called membranous respiration. Earthworm uses moist skin called cutaneous respiration. Cockroach uses trachea called tracheal respiration. Fishes uses gills, special gills called branchial respiration. Human uses lungs, a special organ called pulmonary respiration. Okay, so a simple diffusion takes place inside the body of human also. So we'll see in detail about this pulmonary respiration, how this respiration takes place. So we'll start with human respiratory system. See, in human respiratory system, like digestive system we have seen in nutrition process, here it is human respiratory system. So in respiratory system, it is a very complex, sophisticated system present in the body, which is totally different with digestive system, divided into two parts. We can say respiratory tract and respiratory organ. See, digestive tract, respiratory tract, digestive tract means a passage. It's a passage through which food is moved. And here it is respiratory tract, through oxygen, carbon dioxide is passing. So we can divide whole respiratory system into two system called respiratory tract and respiratory organ. Okay, so this is the diagram of human respiratory system. You can see here, in which we have nasal cavity, pharynx, larynx, bronchioles, tracheae, lungs, diaphragm, alveoli. This is the main parts of human respiratory system. We'll see one by one. Okay. Now moving to the respiratory tract. So what are the parts present in the respiratory tracts? First we start with nostril. See, this is the nostril in which we intake oxygen. We can take oxygen or air through our mouth, no problem. But there is a basic reason behind the inhaling of air through nostrils. What is that? In nostrils, we have we have two parts in that. First is nasal hair, which protects from outer dust. Okay, and we have mucus also, which contains some enzymes, lysozyme enzymes are present, which helps in disinfecting that air. Okay, so in nostrils we have nasal hair and mucus. That's why we should always take air through nose, and you can release carbon dioxide through mouth, no problem. You can release or exhale through nose also, but always you should inhale through your nose, because there is a filtration takes place inside the nose, which is not possible through your mouth. Okay. Next is the nasal passage. So what is that? The nasal passage. See, in nasal cavity, this is the whole process, whole space is called nasal cavity. In this we have nasal passage. In that nasal passage we have various types of receptors present. For example, if anyone asks you how will you smell, then you have to answer through nose. But what is present inside the nose which helps in smelling something? So at the place at nasal passage we have olfactory epithelium. So that olfactory epithelium helps us to detect any type of smell. It is present in our nasal passage. Okay. After that, when air moves, it goes to pharynx. Okay, this pharynx helps to separate. Okay, actually this pharynx was also present in the digestive system. Okay, because that place is very common for food and air also. So in air and for food, this is a common passage through which this pharynx a division takes place, and this division is carried out by a cartilaginous small flap-like structure called epiglottis. This epiglottis is very important to prevent the food not to go inside the windpipe. Okay, otherwise easily whatever we are eating, if we eat vigorously or very fast manner, that food can easily go to our windpipe, and that can be lethal because it can block your trachea, it will fill your lungs through that food, and the person can die due to breathlessness. So it prevents from that situation. That's why epiglottis is important. What is that epiglottis? We can define it is a cartilaginous small flap like structure which prevents the food not to go inside the windpipe. Okay. After that we have trachea. See, trachea is this windpipe, we can call it windpipe, in which the air goes inside the lungs. The air goes inside the lungs. Okay. And a larynx is also present. See, larynx is present. This is a voice box. It is a voice box which having some strips. Whenever air passes, okay, so it vibrates, and during that vibration, due to that vibration, sound is produced. So whenever you have to produce any sound, we have to pass that air from larynx, and that air is present inside our lungs. Okay. So like this we can see through larynx we have through larynx we can produce our sound. Now after that bronchi, see one more function of trachea. The trachea is covered by very small cartilaginous rings. Okay, and these rings are having 25 to 30 number, which having a very significant function. So what is that function? It helps, it avoids collapsing of your trachea when air is not present in it. There are some chances, okay, in trachea that it may collapse when air is not present, but it avoids that situation. This is the main function of that trachea. Okay, and that trachea having in C shape. Okay, this is having in C shape. After that we have bronchi. The bronchi, one more thing here, this trachea is present, and here it is the first division starts called bronchi, and the second division is called bronchioles. Fine. So through which we can see here, this is the respiratory tract. The main function respiratory tract to pass the air smoothly wherever it is oxygen or it may be carbon dioxide. Okay. So after that we have this respiratory tract. Now some of the functions of these respiratory tract, nose and mouth entry points we can take intake. This epiglottis regulates airflow into the trachea and keep food from blocking the airways. Okay, it's a major airway in the lungs, and we'll study later about the lungs. Bronchi, bronchioles, airway of the alveoli in which we go. Okay, this is the main small functions. Again, epiglottis, trachea, what is the main function? What is that structure? Bronchus, smooth muscle, function division of bronchi, bronchial narrow tubes, which originates from bronchi. Okay, alveoli, diaphragm, and intercostal muscles, which is present in between the ribs. It helps in the breathing process. So that we'll see. Okay, so one by one you can write these components and the structure, how the structure is, and the function. What are the functions in the respiratory tract? Okay, so how they helps. So these are the functions. You can write from here also you can write, no problem. Okay, so one by one we'll see this later. Now after respiratory organ in respiratory tract, what happened in respiratory organ? See, in respiratory organ we have lungs, a huge structure, okay, lungs. In that lungs we have a grapes like structure which is millions in number, called alveoli. Okay, so this alveoli is the site for gaseous exchange, which is very important. Okay, and it is supported by a muscular sheath like structure called diaphragm. Here is the diaphragm. Okay, here is the diaphragm, you can see here. So this diaphragm helps, and our lungs is protected by a cage like structure called rib cage, a cage like structure called rib cage. So this is respiratory organ in which you have to see the lungs. Okay, so here we can see this is our lung. This is two lungs are present, in which the left lung is slight smaller than our right lung, because some there is some space for heart. Okay, our lung is present. One thing I have to explain: on the outer covering of our lungs there is two membrane is present. That membrane is called the pleural membrane. Okay, so what is that pleural membrane? How it helps? The pleural membrane helps to reduce the friction while breathing. Okay, why we need to reduce that friction? See, that friction can cause rashes inside the lungs, and after sometimes we are not able to respire, we are not able to breathe due to that pain of that rashes. So it helps to reduce that friction. So a liquid is also present inside the lungs in that pleural membrane called pleura. Okay, so there is some space is present there, that is called pleural sac is present. Okay, in which the pleural membrane in which the liquid is present called pleura. Okay, so this is how our lung helps us in respiring. Okay, in that organ we have a grapes like structure, bunches of grapes like structure called alveoli. So just see the diagram here. In alveoli, this is the tubes, and here these are in millions of numbers. Each and every alveoli is covered with blood capillary. You can see here blood capillary, and blood capillary is important. And why it is at that place? Because the blood capillary helps in diffusion, so that the gaseous exchange can takes place very fast. Okay, so in this process we have seen here this carbon dioxide and oxygen can easily exchange here in the alveoli. So what is the main function of alveoli? The main function of alveoli is gaseous exchange. See here how this gaseous exchange takes place here. In gaseous exchange, so this is the bronchiole, and here it is the alveolar sac. Okay, and these all are covered with bunches of capillaries, and we know that that capillary is microscopic in nature. So see here, this is the balloon like structure here. Okay, and they have some cells are present, and these cells helps in diffusion. And on the surrounding of these cells we have blood vessels, and these blood vessels are what? These blood vessels are capillaries, which helps to take oxygen and carbon dioxide. See, whenever the oxygen comes here, see through the red arrow, the oxygen comes here, this starts inflating. Okay, so after that they change their shape and they start expanding. After the exchange, they goes inside the blood capillaries. Okay, they fitted, and after that, after the exchange inside the cell, that is the alveoli, that is the aerobic respiration, this oxygen converts into carbon dioxide. Again, that blood takes carbon dioxide and releases here. So this is how they expand, they contract, they expand and contract. This is how we take oxygen and releases carbon dioxide continuously. So there is a very major role in for the explanation of for the respiration process. Okay, so this is the gases exchange inside the alveoli which takes place. How these gases transport? Okay, after the gases exchange, we have to know who takes that oxygen. Okay, because any gas can go through it. Okay, because there is no filter for air inside our nose and all, so some carrier should be there. So the carrier is hemoglobin. Okay, see, if we don't have a system, and like amoeba and all, if we have only diffusion, then it will take 3 years for single respiration. Just imagine 3 years to go each and every cell of our body if we have only diffusion. That's why we are multicellular, very complex animals. We have different structure, okay, to overcome this problem. So to carry oxygen, we have hemoglobin present inside the RBC. Okay, and hemoglobin is the carrier of oxygen. So this oxygen attaches with hemoglobin and forms oxyhemoglobin. This is very important. This oxygen attaches with hemoglobin and forms oxyhemoglobin and takes that product to each and every cell of the body. Okay, and that time they again separates them. Carbon dioxide and hemoglobin forms another compound called carbaminohemoglobin. Through this carbaminohemoglobin, carbon dioxide is transported. Okay, some part of carbon dioxide and some part of oxygen is also transported by our plasma also. Okay, but the major part of these gases is transported by hemoglobin. Fine. Now carbon dioxide and hemoglobin, they attaches themselves and forms what? Carboxyhemoglobin. Okay, so what is that carboxyhemoglobin? See, this is carbon monoxide. And what are the consequences of this compound? Okay, there is a question also. What do you mean by carbon monoxide poisoning? There is a question. So you have to answer this, that when carbon monoxide is present in the air, then it forms carboxyhemoglobin, which is a poison which easily clots our blood if they goes inside our blood vessel. So wherever there is some smoke is present, we should avoid that place, because if we go at the time, the carbon monoxide can easily go inside our body. And you know that carbon monoxide has a highest affinity than oxygen and carbon dioxide. If a very little amount of carbon monoxide is also present, the hemoglobin attaches with carbon monoxide, not oxygen or not carbon dioxide. Okay, there is a fact here, because carbon monoxide is highly unstable compound, so it easily attaches with hemoglobin to form carboxyhemoglobin. Okay, so this is how these gases are transported. Okay, and this transportation of gases, helps for smooth respiration in the body. Fine. So in this respiration part, we have seen how we intake oxygen and carbon dioxide. Okay, we have seen the structure. One more thing we have to explain, that in our lungs we have some residual volume is present. What is that residual volume? See, for the conversion of that oxygen into carbon dioxide needs some time. Okay, so what about that gases which is not used by the body? Okay, because we have to intake oxygen, carbon dioxide, but in air nitrogen is also present. some part of other gases also present. All are inhaled by the body, but they are not carried by our blood. So where they will store? So they have to store inside the residual volume, and that residual was is present inside our lungs. Okay, so inside our lungs that residual volume is present. So after the conversion of CO2, again that CO2 mixes with that other gases and we exhale it properly. Okay, so there is a misconception is there that we take only oxygen, carbon dioxide through our nose. No, whatever in the air, whichever the gas is present in the air, we intake all types of gases inside our body. Okay, but the main thing is that we are not using that gases. Understood? Because we don't have any carrier system to carry that other gases. We have only carbon dioxide and oxygen that can be done. Okay, so in this class we have seen some structure of human respiratory system. In next class or maybe next week we will complete this chapter. Some 2 or 3 topics are left in this part of respiration, breathing process, breathing, some respiratory disorders are also present, so that will complete in that part also. Okay, so before that you have to do one task. Just uh, practice this diagram. This is quite easy diagram. Practice this diagram of human respiratory system. Okay, you have to, if you go to your through your NCERT or in Ashant book, you will see some diagrams are given about fishes also. See, a question arises here, why the rate of breathing in fishes is high? Okay, this is the main question. This question comes in a board also. Why the rate of respiration in fishes is high? The main reason is that the rate of respiration in fishes is because they take very less amount of oxygen through the water. In water the dissolved oxygen is a very less amount. Okay, number one. And they intake very less amount of oxygen, so they have to respire again and again. So the breathing rate of in fishes is high due to this reason. Okay, so just practice this diagram. In next week we'll complete this chapter and go to some another next part, that is called transportation also. Fine, bye.